What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Crucible. My name is Nick, and today we are continuing our four-part series for round-the-table upgrades for all the different heroes. Today, as you can see, we have Brevant, Civic Protector. As with all of our videos, we have the three ground rules that we want to keep in mind when upgrading these decks. Number one, the deck's core strategy must remain the same while bumping up the power level of the deck itself. For Brevant, he has his shields up, he's protecting those in need, while setting up his big attacks with those auras. So that is still going to be the same. We're not altering that strategy. We still want to be using those chivalries to be defending. We still want to be playing those auras to bump our future attacks and just go tall when we are being offensive. Number two, we cannot have the upgrades for this deck cost more than $10 to $15. We want to keep this on the budget side so that more newer players that might be introduced to the game through the product can make these changes without breaking the bank. Number three, the decks need to also include a sideboard. That is because we want the decks to be playable in your local UPF event where you can have players be playing any type of deck. They could be employing any type of strategy, so we want to have a sideboard that can be used to take that into account and be flexible in an open metagame. So let's get started with the hero himself and the equipment suite that comes with the precon. So first of all, we have Brevant, that is a 20 health, 4 intellect guardian that can have any number of chivalries in his deck. We're going to take a look at chivalry and the counts later, but the main idea is that he wants to defend most of the time, get some bonuses out of his second ability that says when you protect, when you defend with cards with the protect keyword and specifically another hero, so you can use those protect cards to defend other players being attacked, you get a might token which will help buff up those attacks. So what about the rest of his equipment suite? First of all, his weapon, Hammer of Havenhold, is a 3 power, 3 attack value, one-handed hammer that once per turn you can pay 3 to attack with it. And if you have a chivalry in your pitch zone, this also gets a +1, making this a weapon that you can be attacking for 4 quite often, especially with the number of chivalries in the deck. Next we have Bastion of Duty, his offhand shield that blocks for 2 with temper and also has protect. This is obviously a great card to trigger that protect ability from Brevant when you don't want to be spending cards out of hand, and can also be used to cover up some annoying breakpoints due to the fact that it is an equipment piece. Next, the 4 civic pieces all have a similar template. They are all 2 block temper pieces of equipment that give another hero some type of bonus when you defend with this. This can be used as sort of a politicking type of thing with the rest of your table. Civic Peak, giving another hero a card, which is quite big. I think this is the biggest benefit you can give to another player, so just give them a whole card. So I think this would be a pretty strong aspect of your equipment suite to give you that ability to bargain with the others. You know, you can help me here, and I'm gonna give you a card with this Civic Peak, stuff like that. Keep in mind that these do not have the protect keywords. You can only defend yourself with these. Civic Duty gives a vigor token to another player, which is destroyed at the beginning of their turn, giving them a resource. Civic Guide gives them a might token, which again breaks on their turn, giving their next attack +1, which again, you create might tokens for yourself with that protect ability on Brevant. And then Civic Steps, giving another player a quicken token. and notably this being the first 2-block leg piece for Guardians, making it see some play in constructed formats as well. So with the equipment, we are perfectly happy running this back. No upgrades need to be done right here. All of these fulfill the role they need to. We have lots and lots of defenses. If we consider that each of these effectively can block for 3 and we have 5 pieces, that's 15 life plus our 20. It's as if we start with a 35 health hero. Obviously the Bastion can also be used to defend others, so you know, it's obviously very fluid depending on the game itself and what others are doing, but this remains the same. No upgrades needed. So these are going to be the main attacks in the deck as it comes. The attacks over to the right side with the choke slam, disables, boulder drops, and cranial crushes are here mostly as cards, especially the blue ones, mostly as cards that we can pitch to facilitate our turns, and sometimes do have some uses as cards we can play in the late game. The yellow choke slams, disables, and boulder drops are not particularly useful for our plan and kind of act as pseudo hedges between the full power reds and the pitch ability of the blues. What we want to be doing with these upgrades is trying to make sure that our pitch costs are as efficient as possible. What does that mean? If we can see, say, a choke slam yellow costs 4 for 7. But because it costs 4, we would need to pitch 2 cards to get that 7 attack. That is a 3-card hand for that 7. Obviously, there are some cards in the deck like Earthlore Empowerment that do bring that cost back down by 1, making these a 3-cost attack that if you pair them together, that's a very nice combo. The same can be said about the Brevant specific cards with Smack of Reality, Colossal Bearing, and Lay Down the Law. 3, 4, and 5 cost attacks with the Tower keyword, which means that if this has 13 or more attack, it gets some sort of on-hit ability or a passive ability in the case of Lay Down the Law. So the whole changes that we're making are sort of based on the fact that we do not have Seismic Surge creators in the deck, and the fact that we still want to be efficient with our plays. We can block a little bit, set something up, and then come with a big attack. That's generally what Brevant does. So overall, we are going to be cutting all of these yellows, yellow disables, yellow boulder drops, yellow choke slams, just generally yellows we do not like. So all of these are going to be cut from the deck. Additionally, the blue disables they're a good card. These see play even in constructed formats and stuff like that, but that 5 cost makes this a bit tricky to consistently be getting off and have it be a cost-efficient play, especially with the changes that we're going to be making. So this comes out generally because of that 5 cost. The same can be said about Smack of Reality. Even though this is quite good against or specific decks, this does have a niche and does cost 5, so we are instead going to be putting this in our sideboard. So we are cutting it from the main deck, but not from the entire deck completely, so I'm just going to set this aside for now. The rest of these attacks remain the same, but we are adding some stuff to this. Let's see what we're adding. We're adding probably the most obvious card that fits with this strategy, and that is the Rainbow Suite of Thumps. That is 2 reds, 2 yellows, 2 blues, 6 thumps altogether. What does a thump do? It is basically 6 attack for the red, 5 for the yellow, 4 for the blue, blocks for 3, costs 4. The 4 is that very important number, working well with Earthlore Empowerment, and a different card we're going to take a look at in a little bit, that says that while this its power is greater than its base, it has Dominate, and when it hits, that person discards a card. This works very well with Brevant's hero to protect somebody, create a might token, then attack with this. It already has greater power, already has dominate, and that threatening on hit effect. So great stuff. With Thump, we want these to be our sort of bread and butter attacks that we buff up with those auras. So let's take a look at what the auras are. The auras in Brevant are new to Guardians, and I would love if we had some blue ones, but I think we can expect to see some of these be reprinted in the next set, Heavy Hitters. But for now, we have the Earthlore Empowerment, which I believe to be the better of the two options right here. These costs 3, and the reds buff the next attack by 5, the yellow by 4, also making it cost 1 less to play. These make those 4 cost attacks that much better. They can make those come in for a 2-card hand effectively. That 4 cost and a blue pitch can utilize an Earthlore Empowerment popping off on your turn to come on with, say, a 3-card 11, 3-card 12. It is quite good. Crashdown does not have that cost reduction ability, making these a little trickier to have go through. You need to pair these with either more cards to pitch or some of your 3 cost attacks, such as those boulder drops that the deck comes with, or those lay down the laws work quite well with this one. And reds buff for 6, yellows for 5. Overall, I think the strongest ones that you need to focus on more is Earthlore Empowerment, or if you can politic your way into gaining some type of vigor tokens from other players, then Crashdown can work quite well. So that is our buffs. We are not making any changes. These are great. There's not much better options in outside this card pool, so these stay. How else, though, are we going to be buffing those attacks? We're using some of the best cards that Guardians utilize with pummels. Running the blues and reds, pummels have the ability to give a hammer, which is our weapon, or an attack action card with cost 2 or greater plus 4. If it's an action card, it gives it also an on-hit of discarding a card. The blue gives it a plus 2. And they cost 2 themselves. So that is another way that these can work very well with that cost curve of 4 cost attacks. Because you would pitch 2 blues, play your 4 cost attack, and then have 2 remaining resources to buff it up with those pummels. These obviously also work very well with Thump, making them a plus 4. Obviously you lose that dominate because this happens in the reaction step, but if it does hit, you get a double discard out of this attack. So obviously a very powerful thing to be doing. You can pitch the blues early, use them late, and the reds are obviously the more powerful version, so slam dunk in the deck. Finally, we have some chivalries in the deck. That's right, we have 12 of these. That's a lot. We can use these to protect other people, but overall the rate is going to be quite low, because what happens is that you would defend somebody else, you wouldn't even defend yourself. So you are down a card without much of a benefit. Obviously you can block for yourself, but that's just a blue 3 block that doesn't do anything else. So if you block somebody else's attack and you get that might token, you do get that 1 point of value, but with that might, but it's only value if you can make use of that buff. So overall, the chivalries turn on your weapon once they're pitched. So it is a decent card, but you don't need to be running this many of them in your deck. I have cut 2 for a little bit of a utilization for a lot of mana. One of the problems with Brevant is if you have a large hand, a lot of times you don't have much to do with it. So we didn't have the budget to be running, you know, a couple copies of Rouse of the Ancients, which would be what I would put here. I still want to keep our blues, but I want to make use of a lot of cards in hand, especially if it's a lot of blues that don't attack very well. That is why we're adding a couple of copies of Imposing Visage. This is a way that we can pay use 3 cards, so 2 blues and the Imposing Visage. That's a 3-card hand to tutor out an aura with cost 3, which is any of our auras in the deck, to buff up our next attack, and then with a 4th blue we can pitch into the weapon itself and come in for 3, possibly 4 if we have a Chivalry in the pitch zone, and that sets up our next turn quite well. So this gives us some good usage of excess resources in our turn, or even if we have a hand that doesn't do all that much, we can just play this for 3, put down an aura, and then be ready for the next turn, arsenal something like that. So we're running a couple copies of Imposing Visage. So that's the entire deck. So the sideboard itself is quite simple and self-explanatory. We are having those 2 Smack of Realities from before. If we're playing against something that does run a lot of auras, this could be a great addition. If you see a Prism, if you see maybe a Viscera that you know they're running some type of OTK type of strategy with a lot of rune chance, this could be quite good. Maybe a Vincent. So this comes in for those matchups out of the sideboard. And we're also running some equipment pieces with Nullburn Hood, boots, and gloves to replace those other pieces from the main suite of equipment. As you can see, the only one we're not running is the chest. We're not running an Arcane Lantern. We just need the 3 AB. This should cover up any type of wizard shenanigans that are going on. Obviously, we couldn't be running the single hood in case we're up against some type of Rune Blade. And yeah, overall, this is the entire deck. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. We're going to be coming up with the next one very, very soon. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you like the video, subscribe down below, and let me know what you guys think. You can find the deck list in the description, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.